There is something undeniably powerful about a story that manages to captivate you from the very beginning. One that introduces its characters who resonate, a world that demands your attention, and a premise that feels impossible to ignore. Have you ever just watched a movie, played a game, watched an anime, and in that first episode, you've had that moment where you're like, I'm in for some real good shit right now. These kinds of games that don't just entertain, they invoke genuine emotion, not only through emotional weight that they carry, but how deeply they connect with you on a personal level. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is one of those rare experiences. From the moment it begins, it draws you in with its stunning world, compelling narrative, and an ensemble of charming, fully realized characters. Developed by Samfall Interactive, a studio made up of former Ubisoft talent, this debut title is nothing short of extraordinary. In fact, I truly believe Expedition 33 isn't just a strong contender for Game of the Year, it's a game that will be remembered and talked about for years to come. The way in which all of Expedition 33's components click together creates moments that are unforgettable, whether it is its incredible soundtrack, the stacked cast with fantastic performances, and a more interactive approach to turn-based combat that is underpinned by gameplay systems that make the player's experimentation satisfying. It wears elements of its influences on its sleeve, but still manages to feel fresh and distinctive. It may sound like an unusual comparison, but the emotional impact and narrative twists in Expedition 33 struck me in a way that I haven't felt since Nier Automata. Both games share a masterful approach to storytelling, and both are elevated by phenomenal soundtracks that linger long after the credits roll. On top of that, there is this quirky universe that feels offbeat and different, but like it has a wealth of meaning, and underneath that wackiness offers a sense of that deeper meaning, which is something that I feel many games really struggle to do. Like sure, a lot of games really do make offbeat worlds, but they never really nail this connection that goes into this deeper level that really makes you think and contemplate on things like the human experience. Before I dive into this, I really want to make it clear that this review will be spoiler-free in terms of the story details. However, due to the nature of this game and just how things develop, the footage shown and many twists and visual surprises of the game may be here. You might be susceptible to some visual spoilers. So if you prefer to avoid these, I would say and recommend listening to this video and then coming back later to watch it if you want to, or just watching it later after you finish the game. With that said, let's jump into my review for Expedition 33. One of Expedition 33's greatest strengths lies in its narrative, a story that immediately captures your attention and pulls you deep into its world without ever letting go. In fact, the less you know going in, the better your experience will be. That's why I'll be keeping this portion of the video brief, offering just the elevator pitch of what the story entails and using footage that's just from trailers as not to spoil any of the key moments narratively. Rest assured though, I do plan to release a dedicated video diving into the full depth and brilliance of the narrative, because simply put, Expedition 33 tells an exceptional story, and I think it is the beating heart of this video game. The tale begins in the city of Lumiere, the last known safe haven in the world, overshadowed by an ever-present sorrow. Looming over the city is the Paintress, a towering god-like figure who awakens once a year to mark a stone with a number. That number determines the age of those who will be gammaged, erased from existence in a manner that's reminiscent of Thanos' snap. You play as Gustav, a member of the titular Expedition 33 who, along with his comrades, sets out on the journey to kill the Paintress and break the cycle of death and loss. At its core, Expedition 33 is a story about grief and the different ways people cope, preserve, and find meaning in the face of suffering, and how much people can get absorbed and find meaning in things and attach an inability to move forward. That's all I'll spoil about the next video. But it also explores themes of family, mortality, and the painful cycles that we often find ourselves trapped within. If you are interested in a deeper breakdown of the story and its themes, I'll be covering all of that in a future video, so consider subscribing and checking that out. But anyways, enough plugging my channel. I want to talk about the combat and the gameplay, because that is the real meat of Expedition 33. Let's start off our discussion with the gameplay elements of Expedition 33 by discussing its combat system, which is an intriguing blend of multiple ideas unified into a distinct experience. At its core, the game features traditional turn-based combat functioning in a similar fashion to other entries in the genre. However, that's just the foundation that it's built upon. During development at Sandfall, the team referred to their combat philosophy as reactive turn-based, a concept that became a core pillar of the systems that underpinned Expedition 33's combat. This approach to built upon the overarching combat, and it added different layers and new mechanics that would push this genre forward in a subtle but meaningful way. One of the biggest shifts is how resources are managed. Instead of mana, Expedition 33 uses AP, action points, which are spent to perform actions and can be replenished mid-battle. On the defensive end, the game introduces a rhythm-based mechanic where you are reacting with parries against enemies' attacks, and these are all used with different things like QTEs and quick reactions and reflexes. Successfully parrying not only opens the enemy up for a counter attack, but it can also restore your AP too, adding a reactive element and a skill-based layer to the usual turn-based structure. There is often a stigma around turn-based combat that it is too slow or lacks excitement of real-time action counterparts. Whilst I personally enjoy the strategic depth of the turn-based systems, it's clear many developers are trying to shake up that perception. Games like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth have leaned into hybrid systems to bring more immediate action to the forefront of combat. Expedition 33, however, makes a strong case for how classic turn-based combat can still be intense, rewarding, and deeply engaging. Every enemy turn is a test of reflexes and timing, and something that reminded me surprisingly of Sekiro, where it's this dance, this rhythm of being able to be reactive to an enemy and understand their patterns and movements and when to time those attacks. And it also has this unique blend of being able to be rewarded for getting those parries and those counters done and timed correctly. Expedition 33 also has a feature that uses an alternative fire system, which is kind of like, if you think, the closest thing I can think of is like Persona 5, where you're able to pull out a gun and shoot enemies. However, here in Expedition 33, you can manually aim your gun and move it around freely and target different enemy weak points, whether it's like a floating orb in the middle of the crux of an enemy or a different bomb that's looming over their head. You can just target them and attack, and it does this big damage that can have an impact on all of the enemies you're currently facing, and it incentivizes this quick thinking and identifying weak points, another tactical layer to the experience. Each party member also has access to ultimate abilities or limit break style moves as well for high impact attacks. What truly does set Expedition 33 apart, in my opinion, is the distinctiveness of each character's playstyle. Lune, for instance, feels like a hybrid of a white mage and a black mage, using elemental orbs called stains to enhance spells and being able to filter these stains into different attacks and use them in a correct order. You can get like increased damage, free of charge spells, and it's this game of utilizing resources. Mayel focuses on managing combat stances, while Macron plays like a blue mage, channeling abilities of defeated foes. It overall is a very interesting take. Like, I think the thing with Expedition 33 is a lot of the things that you see in this game that is comprised of are things you have seen individually in multiple different games, but the way that this game collectively pulls them all together and has them click into place makes for a game that is very distinct and meaningful. It's easy to spot the game's influences, from classics like Lost Odyssey to more modern titles, but Expedition 33 brings everything together in a way that feels fresh and cohesive. I can confidently say you've never really played a turn-based game quite like this one. You've seen many of the elements, but all of them together in one big showing. I think Expedition 33 stands out uniquely for that and handles it really well. Beyond its solid combat, Expedition 33 brings back a classic JRPG staple, the world map, and what a welcome return it is. I've genuinely missed this feature. It's a joy to traverse this world, watching it gradually open up in new ways and surprising ways too as the game progresses. The map isn't just for show either. It's packed with meaningful side content, from optional bosses and clever puzzles to bustling towns and cities. The game offers a diverse range of activities. There are even platforming challenges, though these are probably a weaker part of the exploration. Still, the variety of optional content and side quests is impressive. One standout for me involved teaching a Nevron how to play the trumpet. Simple, quirky, and yet surprisingly delightful. These side quests carry a unique charm and authenticity and eccentric nature that perfectly matches the game's world. This is one big reason why I do feel like Expedition 33 reminded me a lot of the Nier series, particularly Automata, with its oddball characters, strange requests, and offbeat stories, all embraced wholeheartedly by the game's tone and design. What I appreciated most was how the world continuously expanded with each act, always giving you new things to discover. As for runtime, don't expect an 80-hour marathon, the likes of like Persona or something of that nature. Like, it's not as long as Metaphor ReFantasio. And I think that's to the game's benefit. If you are aiming to complete everything in this game, you're looking at roughly a 60-hour game here, while a focused run just through the main story beelining the game should take you around 30 hours. Still, with such a richly detailed world full of dungeons, puzzles, and labyrinths to explore, you would be missing out if you didn't take time to make a few detours here and there. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, the RPG genre generally is associated and synonymous with long run times for their games, and Expedition 33 isn't overly long, but it feels like it hits that sweet spot where you get just the right amount and all the loose ends tied up, and there's enough side content there if you want to make it longer, but you can play this game in a 30-hour window and be like, I had a real good time with this. So now we will discuss the gameplay systems, and where's a better place to start than diving into the progression systems that form the backbone of Expedition 33's excellent combat. At the core of this is build crafting, which begins with character-specific skills and abilities. Each party member levels up, they unlock new abilities that gradually shape and flesh out their distinct combat roles and play styles through a skill tree. The more you expand through this tree, the more points you'll acquire to unlock new abilities, and with every level gained, you will gain a skill point that is used to unlock and enhance these abilities. Additionally, you will receive 3 attribute points to distribute among core stats like health, might, speed, and luck. These attributes distinctly influence how each character performs in battle, allowing you to tailor them to fit your preferred playstyle. While basic stats and ability upgrades are a fairly standard affair for RPGs, Expedition 33 sets itself apart through its unique skill progression system centered around Pictos. Pictos are special skills or perks acquired through exploration, combat, or you can even purchase some at vendors. Each Picto not only grants a useful in-combat effect like gaining 1 AP at the start of battle, but also boosts those base stats, such as providing 500 HP or 100 speed. This dual functionality makes each Picto a valuable piece of your character's build, affecting both moment-to-moment combat and broader strategic planning. Though characters fall into certain jobs or archetypes, Pictos allow you to break out of strict class boundaries and customize your party as you see fit. You can equip up to 3 Pictos at a time, offering plenty of room to experiment, and the game does not stop rewarding you. There's another layer of progression that expands on the Picto system called Lumina. Lumina functions operate as secondary skill trees, and it's a secondary skill system, extending the utility of your collected Pictos. Each character has a Lumina point pool, which lets you assign additional Pictos as passive abilities, even if they are not in your active 3 Picto slot. Just like Pictos themselves, you'll find resources throughout the world that increase your character's Lumina capacity, allowing for even deeper customization. This results in a satisfying gameplay loop where you are consistently acquiring new Pictos, assigning the most powerful and potent ones to your main slots, and using the rest to fill out your Lumina tree for added perks and benefits that are tailored to your specific build and needs. This is crucial and also genius because no Picto ever feels wasted. Everything has potential and purpose, but just depending on the type of build you want to craft for your characters. Finally, there is weapon progression. Weapons are found throughout the world and come with up to 3 abilities that unlock as you level them up. They also carry elemental affinities that affect basic and ranged attacks. Each weapon scales with 2 specific attributes such as vitality and might, making it more important to match weapons with characters who are built to optimize those stats. While the weapon system is more straightforward compared to Pictos and Lumina, it seamlessly ties into the broader progression design. Together, all these elements reinforce each other, making every upgrade feel meaningful and substantial, and every build decision feel impactful. Hallmarks of a well-designed RPG, man. It's just so phenomenal, and I think they've done an exceptional job with how all of these progression systems interlock with one another. Now I want to move on to another system that unlocks later on as you progress through Expedition 33. You'll encounter campfire moments that introduce a relationship building system, reminiscent of the social links that you'd find in a game like Persona. At these camps, you'll delve deeper into each party member's personal story and character arc. This system isn't just for narrative flavor, it ties directly into gameplay by unlocking enhanced gradient ultimate attacks, which we touched on earlier in the combat section of the video. While this system is a bit more on the lightweight side of many of the other mechanics you've seen in this game, it succeeds in what it aims to do, and it does it very well, offering meaningful character development and emotional depth. It also provides a welcome break and respite from a relentless, bleak world and creates a small moment of comfort and connection in an otherwise harsh and bleak setting, really. And I think overall it does provide a nice satisfying through line where it gives you these narrative beats and couples them with some nice gameplay progression, with you unlocking new ultimate abilities for each party member respectively, feeling like you get two birds with one stone here and it melds them effortlessly. Now let's talk about the audio-visual experience and overall performance for Expedition 33. Visually, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is nothing short of stunning, especially when you consider that this is a AA title. The game's architectural design and environmental detail are rich with mood and atmosphere, each area feeling distinct and memorable. What truly elevates the visual presentation is the game's masterful use of color. Whether it's the vibrant hues or subtle tones, each environment pops with flair, etching itself into memory through striking palettes and compositional artistry. The art direction draws heavy inspiration from France's Belle Epoque period, an era that Sandfall felt rarely was explored in video games. And to their credit, they were right. The developers have blended this historical aesthetic with dark fantasy elements, creating a world that feels both hauntingly elegant and uniquely grounded in its cultural influence. This choice doesn't just give the game this visual edge, it also gives it identity. Underneath all this is the power of Unreal Engine 5, running with technologies like Lumen and Nanite playing a key role in bringing this world to life. These tools embrace the lighting and detail, making crumbling buildings and ruined cityscapes feel immersive whilst retaining a stylized, almost painted quality, especially evident when traversing the overworld map. The results in this visual presentation feel cohesive, imaginative, and artistically distinct. The world is further brought to life through imaginative landmarks and environmental storytelling. Each location you visit feels like a real place with its own character and rhythm. The character designs also stand out, particularly the Gesturals, whose aesthetics break away from the typical genre norms, and the Nevroms, whose variety and presentation make each one feel visually unique and distinct. What truly seals the deal for me here is the music. Expedition 33 features a phenomenal soundtrack that elevates every moment, emotional or triumphant, to unforgettable heights. The score is nothing short of breathtaking, and when paired with the game's exceptional voice performances, it creates a powerful emotional synergy. Whether it's the heartbreaking story beats or the adrenaline-fueled boss fights, the music knows exactly how to amplify the moment. It's the kind of soundtrack that stays with you long after the credits roll. I mentioned earlier how Expedition 33 delivers gut-wrenching narrative twists and emotionally charged storytelling. Much like Nier, one of the game's greatest strengths is how the music works hand in hand with its writing, leaving a lasting impact. In my view, this is an easy frontrunner for best score and soundtrack of the year. On top of that, the performances are nothing short of stellar either. Performances by Ben Starr, Jennifer English, and Charlie Cox are truly exceptional, bringing depth, nuance, and raw emotion to their characters. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if any or all of them earn an award or nominations for their work here in this game. Their performances, combined with the music, are what make Expedition 33 feel truly unforgettable. Last, but certainly not least, let's talk about performance. Expedition 33 ran smoothly for the vast majority of my 40-hour playthrough. I consistently achieved frame rates above 60 FPS with virtually no stuttering or noticeable drops in performance. On top of that, I encountered no visual glitches or game-breaking bugs, which is impressive considering the game's visual ambition. That said, I did run into a reoccurring issue. After extended play sessions, typically for a couple of hours, the game would occasionally freeze and sometimes crash, prompting the system to pop up notifying me of this crash and having me restart the game. This happened about 3 times throughout my whole playthrough over the course of 40 hours, and whilst it is a frustrating hiccup, the game's frequent autosave ensured I never really lost more than a few minutes of progress. It's not a deal breaker by any means, but if you are particularly sensitive to stability issues, it is something to keep an eye on. Hopefully it's something that can be addressed in a future patch, but overall, the performance for Expedition 33 was great. 33 is a game that's both unforgettable and in moments quietly introspective. The buzz and acclaim surrounding it are well deserved. It's remarkable that a small team of just roughly 30 developers at Sandfall Interactive have developed an experience that confidently stands shoulder to shoulder with major AAA titles releasing this year and that have already released in this same year. The story is compelling, emotionally satisfying, and at times genuinely beautiful. The soundtrack is a standout, so evocative that it's already earned a place in my regular listening rotation. While the gameplay loop doesn't necessarily reinvent the genre, it reimagines familiar mechanics with fresh energy and thoughtful design. It draws from both classic and modern RPGs, addressing common criticisms of turn-based combat with dynamic systems that keep both the player and enemy actions consistently engaging. Expedition 33 is rich, sprawling as an experience with a world map as ambitious as the JRPGs that inspired it, yet focused around a story so strong it's difficult to put down. Across my 40-hour journey, I found myself completely absorbed in its world. Sandfall Interactive has painted a striking, unforgettable canvas, and in doing so has firmly established itself as a studio to watch. Whether or not Expedition 33 takes home Game of the Year, one thing is for certain: this game is a game that will be remembered. Its rich world, unforgettable characters, and powerful narrative will be discussed for years to come, and for me, that's more than enough. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll be making another video discussing Expedition 33's narrative in depth and sharing my thoughts. So if you enjoyed this video and want to see more, consider subscribing. But thank you as always for watching my videos, and I really do appreciate it, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good one.